To most of us in the judiciary, he was our mentor.
Murang'a pledging judiciary support for the family during these tough times. President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his condolence message, termed the retired judge one of the greatest legal minds in the country who worked tirelessly during his time at the helm of the judiciary to ensure that the country's democracy continued to thrive. Deputy President William Ruto said Gicheru was a humble yet tough-minded leader who contributed immensely to the advancement of the independence of the judiciary. ODM party leader Raila Odinga, in a tweet, remembered Gicheru as a great legal mind who was tasked with the heavy burden of returning the country to the rule of law after the 2002 elections. Gicheru, who retired on February 27, 2011, after serving in the key post for 8 years, will be remembered for the dusk swearing-in of former President Mwai Kibaki on December 30, 2007, amid widespread protest. Gicheru entered the public limelight when he was appointed to head the Commission of Inquiry into the death of former Foreign Affairs Minister Robert Ouko in the year 1990. For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
And the Kenya National Union of Nurses is accusing the Ministry of Health of frustrating nurses in the country. The Nurses Union claims that the ministry is not sincere in its efforts to end the healthcare workers' strike. The union says it is ready for talks with the government to end the strike, but in a sincere environment.
The Kenya National Union of Nurses is vowing to soldier on with its strike, claiming underhand tactics will not cow its members to resume duty. The union pointing an accusing finger at the Ministry of Health for doing little to address concerns raised by its members.
I want to tell the country that from the discussions that had already taken place, we were only 30 minutes away from striking a deal before Dr. Mukua and the Cabinet Secretary for Health scuttled everything.
The union says it is ready to resume talks with the government to end the strike, but under a honest preview.
We are asking the government to work with speed because we want to go back to work and serve our Kenyans as quickly as possible.
If the government can come on the table even tonight and address those two issues, then the other issues we can address administratively. We are ready to go back to work.
The union claiming its members will only resume duty once their demands have been addressed, claiming that so far the country has lost 34 nurses to the coronavirus.
We want the new year to start for Kenyans on a positive note, and we want this to be given to them by the government by sitting with the nurses and other health workers who are out like clinical officers, so that we finish this issue.
In the middle of discussion, because we were to have a final meeting on 20th, Sunday last week. But on Friday, the Cabinet Secretary says no more discussions. Discussions have ended. Go back to work or we fire you.
Meanwhile, Kenya Union of Clinical Officers are also taking issue on how the Ministry of Health and county governments are handling the current strike. In a statement, the Clinicians Union claims while it has always presented itself participated in all meetings to resolve the stalemate, it must be noted the employers have become hostile, politicized the demands, and refused to sit down to resolve the strike.
Still on matters health, the number of COVID-19 cases in Kenya jumped to 95,843 on Saturday after 130 more people tested positive for the virus from a sample size of 1,973 tested in the last 24 hours. A statement from the Ministry of Health also revealed that 2 more patients had succumbed to the virus, with fatalities in the country now standing at 1,655. A 4-month-old baby and an 83-year-old granny are among the 130 coronavirus cases recorded in the country Saturday. According to a statement by the Ministry of Health, the cases were detected from a sample size of 1,973, raising the total caseload to 95,843. From the cases, 103 are Kenyans, while 17 are foreigners. 81 are males and 49 females. The youngest is a 4-month-old infant, while the oldest is 83. Nairobi County recorded 64 cases, Mombasa 13, Murang'a 9, Nyeri 8, Kiambu and Meru 4 cases each, Bungoma, Busia, Kisumu, Kwale 3 cases each, Kilifi, Machakos, Marsabit, Nakuru and Uasin Gishu 2 cases each, while Kajiado, Kitui, Laikipia, Migori, Nyandarua and Taita Taveta have 1 case each. The Ministry of Health also announced that 2 more patients have succumbed to the virus, bringing the total fatalities to 1,655. At the same time, 187 patients recovered from the disease between Friday and Saturday, 93 being from home-based care program, while 94 have been discharged from various hospitals. The total recoveries now stands at 76,998. 38 patients are in ICU, 19 of whom are on ventilatory support, 16 on supplementary oxygen. Please remember, COVID-19 is not on holiday. Keep social distancing, put on the mask, and observe other protocols provided by the Ministry of Health to just ensure that the curve remains at least below 5% as recommended by the World Health Organization. Today, the country's positivity rate was at 6.5%. The Christmas transport rush witnessed at various bus terminals across the country since the beginning of the festive season has slowed down. A spot check at the Machakos Country Bus Station in Nairobi revealed a rather less busy terminus, with only a few commuters still hoping to make it to the rural areas and recreational areas such as Nairobi's Uhuru Park, were however buzzing with activities as most Kenyans opted to mark the festivities in urban centers owing to the tough economic times brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic.
A visit at the Machakos Country Bus Station in Nairobi at around noon on Saturday revealed reduced activities. Very few vehicles and less human traffic.
Leo naona customer ni moja na kwa upande wa nauli leo si mbaya sana.
A few passengers could be spotted waiting anxiously and hoping to catch a bus.
Nilikata gari saa 11 asubuhi mpaka saa hii hata sijaenda, gari haijaingia, gari hakuna.
Ulikata shilingi ngapi?
2,800.
Unaenda wapi na mbona unaenda kuchelewa saa hizi?
Busia. Sasa walituambia gari inakuja na imekuja, wanasema tu 15. Sasa zingine hakuna.
Nimekuja hapa tusafiri kwenda Busia, nimekata gari. Baada ya kukata gari nimeambiwa imekuja ikapatikana tena imejaa. Sasa wametuambia tusubiri ingine inakuja. Tumeona tu tuende nyumbani juu hapo nyuma tulikuwa busy. Sasa hizi at least nimemaliza kazi yangu.
Bus operators, however, say most of the buses that left for various destinations the previous day are yet to return following the ban on night travels.
Watu bado ni wengi wanasafiri, lakini magari sinakwaza kukuja kwa sababu abiria wamekuwa wengi kushinda magari. Wakaturudishia tu ile yetu ya kawaida. Magari sikuja usiku na mchana ili tuweze kufanya kazi kama kawaida.
A few minutes later, a bus arrives at the station. The commuters who had eagerly been waiting finally make their way towards it. Bus fares are also said to have dropped a bit, though still high compared to the normal days.
So gari ya kwanza ilikuja ikajaa ikaenda. So ndio hii ya pili imekuja. Sasa tunataka kusafiri huko.
But a number of social and recreational places are buzzing with activities. Uhuru Park in Nairobi, both the young and the old are out and about making merry. Most opted not to travel to the rural areas for fear of the invisible enemy.
So hapa nimeleta tu watu hiwa at least wasikie kuna sherehe. Hatu travel jia story na fare moja kwenda Western ni 25. Hiyo doni mob kwa watu 4.
Sasa tumeamua ni kusherehekea tu hapa Nairobi. Lakini next year tunajua mambo ikiwa sawa ndio tutafikia watu wetu nyumbani.
Tumekuja tu huko kuleta watoto ili wafurahie juu hatukupata pesa ya kwenda Gishagi. Sasa tuko hapa.
Some, however, opted to cut on expenses that come with traveling, instead saving for January when children will be resuming learning. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
All right, you're welcome to tell us especially some of your 2020 highlights at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. KBC or Channel 1 Weekend is the hashtag to use tonight. I'll be glad to share them during this broadcast, and of course where you are during this festive season and how different is this season to you compared to how you celebrated other seasons. Remember, this is the year that the country and the world is still struggling to contain the COVID-19 disease, now with a new variant being reported in most European countries. The clergy in Kisauni has urged Kenyans to embrace the spirit of giving, even as after this festive season, while donating to the less fortunate in Kisauni. Priest from Kiembeni Holy Family Catholic Church said the vulnerable require humanitarian support, more so now that the world is facing the coronavirus pandemic.
A section of vulnerable families in Kisauni, Mombasa County, could not hide their joy after receiving food and clothing, courtesy of the Kiembeni Holy Family Catholic Church. The church, through its priest, donating among others wheat, sugar and cooking oil to the more than 600 less fortunate families in the area.
We want them to be happy. We want them to be part of the celebration. Those ones that know people may not remember, we bring them closer and closer and tell them, yes, we remember you, and you can also celebrate with us.
The church calling on Kenyans to adopt a culture of helping not only during the festive seasons, but always.
Not only the giving of the gift, we want them to be part of our community. We want to make them part of us.
The clergy is saying many Kenyans have been clawed into poverty by the coronavirus pandemic, which has shut down almost all sectors of the economy, and any assistance to those suffering will help them increase their resilience during these difficult times. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
Elsewhere, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, has commenced probe into an incident where 3 police officers were captured on video assaulting a motorist and a Nakuru-based KBC correspondent Simon Ben for filming the incident. In a statement, IPOA chairperson Ann Makori said that the authority will make appropriate recommendations of misconduct against the police officers if found culpable to the Director of Public Prosecutions, the National Police Service, the National Police Service Commission, or any other state agency for necessary action.
This is the video that has caught the attention of the Independent Police Oversight Authority, IPOA. 3 traffic police officers assaulting a motorist along the Nakuru-Nairobi area over the Christmas.
Mimi nilipoona wamesumbuana, nikaona askari amegonga gari pale mbele kwa bonnet, akaigonga na ile kijiti yao. Alipomgonga hiyo gari, mimi nikaona sasa hapo kuna shida, sababu huyu jamaa ametoka, amefungua mlango, ametoka. Alipofungua mlango ndio atoke, naye askari akaanza kumpigia kelele, wakazushiana. Dakika ya mwisho nikaendelea kurekodi, nikaona huyo askari amekuwa too much na amekuwa violent.
Nakuru-based KBC correspondent Simon Ben, in his call of duty, capturing the whole incident on camera, he too fell victim of the police officer's wrath who assaulted him.
Aliyekuwa anachapa ule jamaa ambaye alikuwa driver wa ile gari ya polisi, aliona nikifilm na akaruka kwangu, akakuja akagonga simu yangu, ikaanguka, akaanza kunigonga mimi mwenyewe, simu yangu ikachukuliwa na ikapewa madam ambaye ni base wa hapa Nakuru, madam mwenye alikuwa mfupi, huyo mwenye alikuwa anamchapa, mwenye alikuwa anauliza kwa nini unakataa unashika askari.
The KBC correspondent sustained head and body injuries and was treated at the Nakuru Provincial General Hospital before reporting the matter to the Nakuru Central Police Station. The journalist lost his phone during the fracas. The Independent Police Oversight Authority, IPOA, has launched investigation into the matter. In a statement, IPOA chairperson Ann Makori says in the course of the probe. If culpability is found or further misconduct established, the authority will make appropriate recommendation to the Office of the DPP, the National Police Service, the National Police Service Commission, or any other state agency for appropriate action.
And we still hope that justice will prevail as investigations continue. Harrington Jenga, you tuned in from Kakamega County. We also have Sheikh Bukako, you tuned in from Kisumu. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tell us where you're watching us from, and also share with us your 2020 highlights. What do you remember this year? This is the last Saturday of the year 2020. What do you remember this year for? At Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag is Channel 1 Weekend. Let's take our first commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We still have plenty more to come. Stay with us.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, Christmas imekuja mapema na quick bid. Lucky bidder ako hapa, tumpe ndizi yake.
Ndio huyu anaitwa Penua. Heshimiwa na tumemheshimu.
Karibu.
Nduti ndio hii kifungu. Shika kifungu yako boss. Ulibidaje?
Niliingia kwa site ya quickbid.co.ke. Alafu nikafuata the process.
Oh yes.
Nikabid 158 na ndio nikaweza kubai nayo hii pikipiki.
Christmas hii hakuna kutembea. Ndio huyu mheshimiwa Kate. Tufanye aje? Kalia nduti, ndio hii ni ya customer. Hiyo ni yako. Sawa. Kalia nduti, chukua helmet nini yako? Valia, leta nikushikie hii. Valia. Bas, quick bit wanahakikisha pia safety. Iko on point. Haya, kalia nduti. Kate, si twende tushughulikie wengine. Si ndio? Twende tushughulikie wengine. Asanteni sana.
Jiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
We wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of our heart and a prosperous New Year!
Stay safe.
Do you have any idea what it's like picking up the man who calls himself your father at the police station? Hi.
Produce? Do you really come to church with me?
Who is this friend you've been spending all this time with?
Hey, Produce. Let's do a shopping cart.
I guess I just came to talk.
To me?
It's like I could use some of that magical happiness that you always seem to have.
Feel sorry for him?
No, I feel sorry for you.
Oh, yeah! This is incredible.
I haven't had much faith in anything in a long time. I love you so much, and I want you to have everything. You spend a second with this kid, and you realize he's just like you and me.
Thank you so much for staying with KBC Channel 1 Weekend. Let's now continue with our broadcast. And the rising statistics of substance and drug abuse among the youth in Lamu County has not only left many families in agony, but even the local authorities worried. And with statistics revealing that more than 2,000 youth in the county are addicted to drugs, parents have put out distress calls for a quick intervention from the relevant authorities. Subsequently, Lamu County Commissioner Irungu Masharia is calling on residents to expose drug barons involved in the supply chain, saying the war against drug abuse can be won through partnership between the community and law enforcement agencies.
It was at a function that was meant to bring hope to many families that have their loved ones rehabilitated at the Kenya Red Cross Rehabilitation Center at Hindi Town in Lamu. The celebration turning to a dull mood as women cried from the bitterness and suffering they have been going through as they lose their children to drugs. Amina Binti, a mother of 4, breaks into tears as she narrates how his son, who has sold everything in the house for his daily dose. The situation is perhaps more painful to Suleiha Ahmed, who claims both her 2 children and husband are addicts.
Tuna vijana wetu tumewalea kwa taabu, kwa umaskini. Tamani kwamba yule kijana atainuka kesho aweze kusimama na mimi anisaidie. Leo mtoto yule amekuwa kama zombi. Hawezi kujisaidia nafsi yake, hawezi kutusaidia na sisi. Ni jambo la kusikitisha.
According to Lamu Women Representative Roida Obo, an assessment carried out by her office shows that over 2,000 youths are addicted to drugs within Lamu County. Out of every 100 cases, 20 were HIV positive.
Sasa janga si kwamba ni mihadharati peke yake, kuna yale matatizo yanayotokea zaidi ya wale wanaotumia mihadharati. Na hayaendi kwao tu, wale waliniambia youth, wale wanaotumia, wananiambia mimi ninayo.
The MP, who donated 15 beds to the centre so as to expand its capacity, called on Parliament to facilitate passage of the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Control Amendment Bill 2020, saying it will be important to end the trade.
Ile bili iliyoko bungeni, serikali ikingangana bili ipite, hao watu wa miadharati nafikiri watakimbia paka Kenya, hawataishi Kenya kwa sababu hiyo biashara yao itakuwa haifanyiki hapa Kenya.
Lamu County Commissioner Irungu Masharia, who was also present, urged residents to expose those involved in the supply chain, saying it calls for community involvement to curb drug menace.
Nani asitaja mtu ambaye anajua anauza miadharati hapa hata kwa hiyo kijiji ambayo umetoka. Kama ukipata mtu mmoja ambaye utumia, ni kumaanisha kuna mtu anauza wapi? Nako hiyo kwani wewe anauza ni jirani ya nani? Ni jirani ya nani?
Suleimanieri, Channel 1 News.
Some of the vices reportedly on the rise courtesy of COVID-19 disease, apart from substance abuse, also vices such as the female genital mutilation and gender-based violence on the rise. And Bonnie Wazee, you're saying that all you can remember this year is COVID-19 and the way it has disrupted everything right now. Thank you for your comment. Keep talking to us and telling us what you can remember the year for 2020 and some of your highlights for this year at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Channel 1 Weekend is our hashtag this night. We are also live on Facebook. Right. Police in Murang'a County have launched investigations into the mysterious killing of a 21-year-old man at Kamaguta village in Kiharu. It is alleged that the young man was killed by a group of youth aged between 15 and 17 years after an altercation over 2 teenage girls.
Mood has engulfed Kamagota village in Kiharu constituency, Murang'a County, following the killing of a middle-aged man Friday night. It is alleged that Nicholas Mwangi was killed by a group of boys aged between 15 years and 17 following a brawl over 2 teenage girls.
Lakini hatukujua venye walikuwa wanaulizana, lakini aligogwa tu na mawe na akafariki, alifariki hapo. Juu tukifika hapo alikuwa kama ameaga.
The parent of the deceased, James Kariuki, is now calling on the police to investigate the matter and bring to book those involved in the unfortunate incident.
Mmoja wao ndio alituambia sisi ndio tulikuwa pamoja. Na yule msichana tulikuwa tukitafuta, na msichana akapigwa simu, alikuwa ameenda Kakoiko kwa camp, akarudishwa aje atupatie taarifa kamili. Akatupatia taarifa kamili, na ndio sasa tukachukua vijana wawili na msichana mmoja.
Askari yetu waangalie, hata wale wana kitu waangalie, wale wako chini waangalie, wasione kama saa hii sisi tuko chini au vijana wametenda hiyo kitendo, wako na pesa, kuwe na mambo ingine.
Locals accuse police of not helping either, claiming cases of insecurity in the area are on the rise.
Na tumesema serikali hiyo ni kitu baya sana, kwa sababu mtoto mdogo kukuva hivyo si vizuri.
Sasa hata kama tulikuwa na kiskaa hizi, sasa tukaona zimezidi.
Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
The Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020 proposes the establishment of a National Health Service Commission, which will be responsible for setting national standards for management of healthcare workers. The National Health Service Commission, whose chairperson will be the Health Cabinet Secretary, shall also be responsible for training, recruitment and transfer of healthcare workers. Tonight on the Constitutional Review, our reporter Ben Chumba unpacks the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, which seeks to amend the Health Act to establish the Health Service Commission.
The bill proposed by the Building Bridges Initiative is adopted. Parliament will be mandated to amend the Health Act 2017 to provide for the establishment of a 10-member National Health Service Commission, whose chairperson will be the Health Cabinet Secretary. In the proposed establishment, the Chief Executive Office of the Commission shall be an ex-officio member and secretary to the Commission. The Commission shall further comprise of 2 representatives nominated by county governors, 1 person nominated by the Public Service Commission, 1 representative nominated by health regulatory bodies established under an Act of Parliament, 1 representative nominated by trade unions of healthcare workers, 1 representative of faith-based organizations involved in healthcare, and 2 persons with expertise and knowledge in matters related to human resource management in healthcare. The functions of the Commission shall include setting and regularly reviewing norms and standards on the transfer of health workers at the inter-county level. The bill is expected to end the turmoil in the health sector, which is attributed to the mismanagement of workers across the counties, lack of medical supplies, and inadequate financing of the sector. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Moving on, a 77 million shillings water project has been commissioned in Garma, Samburu County. The project, undertaken by the county government of Samburu in conjunction with the Water Service Trust Fund, is set to benefit over 19,000 locals who have been trekking for miles in search of the commodity. These and more stories in news making headlines in the counties.
Since their existence, residents of Garma in Samburu Central constituency have never seen piped water in their area. But now, hundreds of residents of Garma have witnessed the commissioning of Garma Water Supply Project by the county government in conjunction with the Water Service Trust Fund. The 77 million shillings project will benefit over 19,000 Garma residents and its environs.
Mradi huu kwa ushirikiano na Water Fund kupitia sponsorship ya European Union itapipe maji kutoka borehole hapa ambayo iko na capacity ya 3,500 cubic meters.
In the meantime, social events and festive activities in Busia County have been banned by the provincial administration as a stopgap measure to control the spread of COVID-19 at the border county.
Kuna patrols also ambazo zitaendelea kuhakikisha kwamba tumeangalia. Kuna chiefs, they are very active on the ground. Kuna assistant chiefs, kuna village elders, kuna ward administrators from the county government.
Elsewhere, it was a sigh of relief for patients at the Kilifi County Hospital after Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi spent time to celebrate the Christmas Day.
Najua pengine mazingira si yale ambayo yanafurahisha hivyo, lakini kwa sababu ya kujitolea na kuwa na moyo wa utu.
And detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations have rescued a 26-year-old man abducted in Changamwe, Mombasa by an unknown gang. According to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, one of the gang members was shot dead while his accomplices fled the scene, leaving behind over 5 machetes and other crude weapons in Lilongwe area in Mombasa. And finally, hoteliers around Lake Bogoria have urged Kenyans to explore Kenya and experience the rich diversity locally. Lake Bogoria Spa Resort General Manager Lydia Ndetewo is appealing to Kenyans to support the local hotel industry that is offering reduced rates.
Even with the pandemic, you can still enjoy the warm pool as you've always done. And those of you who have never tried to dip yourself there, I can only welcome you, because the moment you start doing it, you will know the values, and yes, you will come back again.
Beatrice Getonyingetich, Channel 1 News.
Mainland Scotland has moved into the toughest level of coronavirus restrictions. This development comes as Spain joins the countries with a new variant virus. Spain has confirmed 4 cases so far of the more contagious strain recently identified in the United Kingdom.
Mainland Scotland has moved into the toughest level of coronavirus restrictions. Millions of people are now living under level 4 curbs, the highest of the country's 5-tier system of the antivirus measures. The change means non-essential retail and hospitality has been closed for an initial 3-week period in response to a new strain of the virus. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has warned that the level 4 restrictions could be further tightened if efforts to reduce the spread of the new transmissible strain of coronavirus were unsuccessful. This is as Spain becomes the latest European country to have the new variant of the coronavirus. The infections, all in Madrid, were linked to the recent UK travel. Elsewhere, tension remains high in Central African Republic as 3 UN peacekeepers were murdered. United Nations says unidentified combatants carried out 2 attacks, leaving 2 other peacekeepers injured. The group was stationed in CR to quell violence ahead of presidential and parliamentary elections on Sunday. President Faustin Touadera has accused his predecessor, Francois Bozize, of fomenting a coup with rebel groups. Bozize, who is barred from running in the election and is under UN sanctions, has denied the allegation. Finally, it's end of an era for George Blake. The former MI6 officer and one of the Cold War's most infamous double agents has died aged 98. Over 9 years, the Soviet spy handed over information that led to the betrayal of at least 40 MI6 agents in Eastern Europe. He was jailed in London in 1960, but escaped in 1966 and fled to Russia. George Blake did a gigantic damage to British intelligence operations during the Cold War, betraying agents and secret operations and showing that the KGB could run agents within the heart of the British state. Ruth Wamboi for Channel 1 News.
And back home, the year 2020 presented the Kenyan judiciary a bag of mixed fortunes as it went about fulfilling its mandate of interpreting the law in situations presented to it. Whereas it accused the executive of undermining its independence, some of its rulings did not go down well with the executive. The stiff dominated the last year of Chief Justice David Murang'a's tenure. The COVID-19 pandemic seemed to have given impetus to digitization in the judiciary. Besides this milestone, the judiciary will also be remembered for landmark rulings such as ordering Parliament to refund billions of shillings MPs illegally awarded themselves in the House allowances, and another one that awarded for survivors of post-election violence 4 million shillings each. And here is Serafina Robi with the highlights of 2020 in the corridors of justice.
The year 2020, the judiciary as one of the arms of the government has been presented with not one, not two, but a number of litmus tests on its capability as an independent arm. The question that arises from all this is, has it passed the capability of standing as a hallmark and pride of independence in its rulings? Let's walk down the corridors of justice to ascertain this. The year 2020 in the corridors of justice notably began with a suit lodged by the Law Society of Kenya seeking to compel President Uhuru Kenyatta to appoint 41 judges picked by the Judicial Service Commission. And on the 6th of February, a 3-judge bench of the High Court ruled that it was unconstitutional for the President to decline appointing the 41 judges.
The Constitution, as the two multi-judge court cases held, requires you to appoint judges recommended to you by the JSC, which you have refused to do. The laws of this country include valid court orders. It therefore behoves you to appoint the 41 judges recommended for appointment by the JSC as ordered by the court without any further delay.
Justice James Makau, Lydia Chode and Chacha Mwita ruled that the President had no power to review, reconsider or decline the appointment of judges as forwarded by the JSC. According to the Constitution, the President is required to appoint the judges within 14 days after the names are forwarded to him.
Despite this clear provision and the 3 court orders, the President has failed to appoint the 41 judges, now 40 because one of them has since died. Both the High Court and the Court of Appeal have been categorical that the President has no residual legal power to question or reject the names recommended to him by JSC, but to appoint them. I continue to urge the President to appoint those judges without any further delay.
President Uhuru, however, cited integrity issues on some of the nominees. Integrity queries in the judiciary, however, come to fore when Court of Appeal Judge Sankale Olekantai was arrested for allegedly coaching Sarah Wairimu, the main suspect in the murder of her husband, Dutch businessman Rob Cohen. As the saga of the appointment of judges continued, one of the nominees, Elvis Micheka, who was a principal magistrate at the Mombasa Law Court, succumbed to COVID-19 on the 2nd of December. The pandemic almost ground the wheels of justice as several courts across the country resorted to temporary or partial closure to stem the spread of the virus. Holding of court sessions in the open became the new norm. Murang'a further announced a pay cut for judges of the Supreme Court to help mitigate the effects of the pandemic to fund direct public interventions. To help revive dispensation of justice, digitization was adopted.
We are building all this digitization on the strategy that was launched by the Chief Justice in the year 2016. We are looking into a process where we integrate this with the Attorney General's office. That is one. The other one is with the integrated personnel validation, the IPRS.
The Chief Justice David Murang'a then launched the new e-filing system. In the new electronic system, all lawyers, police, directors of public prosecution, and members of the public are required to register themselves through a portal to log into the system. Subsequently, court proceedings went virtual, albeit with teething problems.
You had an auction, for instance, at 11 o'clock, and you have filed in the morning. Definitely, it will take, you will not be able to get the orders back, because we will then give you the payment advice, then you pay, then you send it back to us. Then once it has been sent back to us, we then translate that email and forward it to the judge who is on duty.
As the year moved along, the judiciary suffered a major blow as the allocation in the 2020-2021 budget was reduced to 18.1 billion shillings from 18.8 billion shillings the previous financial year.
And threatened to reduce the judiciary budget. When, in September 2017, the majority of the Supreme Court nullified the presidential election, it is on record that the president threatened to revisit. And the following financial year, we saw a reduction of the development vote of the judiciary budget from 2.1 billion to a paltry 50 million.
One of the decisions that trialed the executive was Chief Justice David Murang'a's advisory dated September the 21st to the President to dissolve Parliament for failing to enact legislation required to implement the two-thirds gender rule. The Chief Justice said he was responding to 6 petitions seeking his advice on the matter, saying despite 4 court orders compelling Parliament to enact the legislation of Parliament had blatantly failed, refused or neglected to do so. Parliament also found itself on the wrong in the eyes of the judiciary when the High Court ordered MPs to refund 1.2 billion shillings that they unlawfully awarded themselves as house allowances in the year 2018. The Salaries and Remunerations Commission and activist Okiom Tata Okoiti had challenged the 250,000 shilling house allowance that the 416 MPs awarded themselves. Justice Weldon Korir, Pauline Nyomoya and John Mativo unanimously ruled as illegal the move by the Parliamentary Service Commission to approve the allowances. And close to 13 years after post-election skirmishes, 4 victims of sexual violence who were subjected during the mayhem were awarded 4 million shillings each in compensation. Justice Weldon Korir ruled that the government of Kenya was responsible for failure to conduct independent and effective investigations and prosecutions of sexual and gender-based violence-related crimes during the post-election violence. Towards the end of this term, Murang'a found himself at loggerheads with the executive yet again over a proposal by the Building Bridges Initiative to have a judiciary ombudsman appointed by the president with the approval of the Senate. Murang'a, however, insisted that the judiciary ombudsman be appointed by the Judicial Service Commission to avoid conflicting decisions that may be made by the ombudsman and JSE.
The risk of parallel complaints being instituted with the JSE as well as the ombudsman, and the possibility of different decisions being arrived at is real and may result into a constitutional quagmire.
And as the country's 14th Chief Justice David Kenani Murang'a began his terminal leave on the 12th of December, integrity queries arose yet again over his deputy Philomena Mwilu, who he had recommended to step in as acting Chief Justice. This comes at a time when the Supreme Court finds itself incapacitated as several of its members retire. Well, as we wind up the year 2020, it's notable to mention of the outgoing 14th Chief Justice of Kenya, David Kenani Murang'a, who began his terminal leave on the 12th of December. Come early January, he will be handing over the reins as Kenya's Chief Justice as he turns 70 years old. Well, what a walk down the corridors of justice the Chief Justice has had during his tenure. Well, from us, this is the wrap of some of the notable cases and rulings of the judiciary in 2020. For Scales of Justice Channel 1 News,
I'm Serafina Robbie. Do have yourself a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
Next on.
What I'm trying to say is that not only did Max save me from dying a physical death during the accident, he also rescued me from dying as a woman.
And I hope this meeting with Juliana is going to be worthwhile and would open the possibility of everyone being together again and seeing her with us.
In spite of leaving the house the way that she did, are you sure about that?
You still feel the same way, that you still want to end your relationship with him? I promise you I won't ever mention Max ever again. Do we have a deal?
Simujifanya ni washindani. Ngoja siku ifike.
Mimi ni paka mwitu, nitakupa pura.
Ni usiku sasa, matatizo kuna nini?
Mtume! Nilikwambia wacha kuzungumza na mwanamke. She has no respect. Coming to my party. Wacha kunipiga? Nipige.
Kuwa makini sana ule mke wako. Na usivyo tukugharimu.
Mamako mwenyewe. Wewe usiniudhi. Sawa, wewe ulimwona mamangu?
Huwezi kunisaidia? Nenda zako. To you too. Cheers.
And welcome to sports news. The Kahi Indimoli Soccer Tournament will be played on the 28th of this month at Moi Girls School grounds. Vokoli men will play against Vigogo, while Real Madrid ladies will play against White Starlets. Meanwhile, Gor Mahia will face CR Belouizdad of Algeria tonight at the CAF Champions League first leg match in Algiers after safely arriving in Algiers last night. The last time Gor Mahia played against an Algerian opponent was in 2019 when they were drawn to face USM Alger in the same competition. The return leg will be played on Wednesday next week in Nairobi. And the annual Kodbiro football tournament will resume tomorrow after securing sponsorship from the upcoming betting firm Betmoto. The 2020 edition of the competition had been called off after last year's winners Kingston FC invaded the pitch to demand their prize money from the organizers.
The annual Kodbiro tournament that is in its 46th edition this year was suspended indefinitely after last year's winners Kingston FC invaded the pitch to demand their prize money. However, it is a reprieve for the organizing committee after upcoming betting firm Betmoto announced sponsorship deals worth 2 million shillings.
Make sure that the tournament now is at the quarterfinal stage, getting to the quarterfinals, the semis, and the finals in mid-January. And we'll come on as a brand and support you, because this is a tournament that has very strong tradition. And as he has mentioned, is a lot of players, superstars, and upcoming superstars are gracing the tournament. And we wanted to see it continue and give it a new birth. And our whole intention is starting with it now, as we grow as a firm and as a brand, as BetMoto, we want to help the tournament grow too.
Wanadada wako na talent kubwa sana. Tulikuwa tuna hope kama sponsorship ingekuwa iko sawa kabisa, wa showcase kama game 2 ama 4 hapo, watu wajua wanadada wetu wako na yani talent yao inafikia wapi, unaona. So haikuweza fanyika, lakini naona bado hatujatupa bado nini, hope bado iko. BetMoto tumeona hapo wamekuja, wameanza na grassroots, na mimi nawashua hapo tutawajibika vilivyo.
This year's edition, as for the first time, consists a total of 16 women's teams battling in a mini tournament meant to give the female soccer players a platform to exhibit their play.
For us, it'll be purely touching on the grassroots, making sure that the support gets to where it's actually needed, right at the bottom, so that we can see talent grow. It's very easy to throw money at sort of the national teams, the big clubs, so to speak, but it's where do they get all these players from? And it's at the bottom. So we want to actually support the bottom, where we have the numbers.
Tomorrow, Donholm FC will play against Kahawa Sportive, while Ngara Youth lock horns with Isli Youth. Umeme Bees will be up against Alain Juakali. The winner will walk away with 300,000 shillings and will also earn a slot to feature in Tanzania's street football tournament, the Dondo Cup. A total of 40 teams have registered this year's championship. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
Moving on, Leicester City twice came from behind to deny Manchester United a record equaling 11th executive away win in the Premier League. Axel Tuanzebe diverted a close-range effort from Jamie Vardy, who had had an otherwise quiet afternoon, into his own net in the 85th minute to keep the Foxes second in the table. The 2-2 draw at the King Power Stadium ended United's 10-match winning league run on the road, one short of the record set by Chelsea in 2008.
Boxing Day football, cherish it. Cut out briefly by Fofana, taken back by Fernandes. Fernandes, and Rashford scores! With characteristic certainty. A breakthrough moment, a moment of personal atonement. Kasper Schmeichel helplessly exposed, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer uplifted. Madison Barnes. Harvey Barnes, good hit, good goal. That is a belter from Barnes. And a fillip for the Foxes. Up and bubbling again. Leicester back in business. The hair barely twitched. Monteve, Cavani, Fernandes, beautifully done. Really beautifully done. Immaculate in its conception, immaculate in its execution, and Manchester United have their lead back. James Justin, Perez again, and Vardy!
And Manchester City striker Gabriel Jesus and defender Kyle Walker have tested positive for COVID-19. The players, along with 2 members of staff, will isolate in accordance with Premier League and government protocol. City play Newcastle in one of the 6 Boxing Day fixtures.
Manchester City striker Gabriel Jesus and defender Kyle Walker have tested positive for COVID-19 and will isolate in accordance with Premier League and government protocol. City will likely be without the duo for Premier side. Manchester City are 8 points behind Premier League leaders Liverpool with a game in hand. Man City boss Pep Guardiola made 7 changes for the winner fit at Brentford through fatigue.
All right, and that's all the time that we had today for Channel 1 News Weekend. Many thanks for your time and for keeping us company. My name is Purity Museo, and Simon Karodha is a sign language interpreter tonight. Do enjoy the rest of your evening, and God bless.
Good evening. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. I have your weather updates tonight, and most parts of the country have been covered with partly cloudy conditions, save for the southwestern of Nyanza region, where there are showers accompanied by thunderstorms, but that is just over a few places. Eldoret is the coldest town tonight. Temperatures stand at 9 degrees Celsius. And tomorrow morning, we're waking up to sunny intervals over most parts of the country, right from the northeastern parts of the country, the northwestern, the Lake Basin region and western sector. The capital and counties around the region will mainly be sunny. The coastal strip will also be sunny, equally for you in Machakos, Makindu and Voi. In the afternoon, sunny intervals will continue over most parts of the country, save for the western parts of the country where there'll be showers accompanied by thunderstorms. But these will be limited to a few areas in Kisii, Bomet, Kericho and Kisumu. The capital will mainly be sunny. The northern parts will be sunny in the afternoon, as well as the coastal strip and southeastern lowlands. Let's cross over to temperatures, and the highest across the country will be experienced in Lodwar at 36 degrees Celsius. For you in Mandera, be prepared for highs of 35 degrees Celsius. And for us in the capital tonight, we are experiencing highs of 13 degrees Celsius. This as tomorrow, we are looking forward towards highs of 27 degrees Celsius. Let's now cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. Be blessed and see you tomorrow, God willing.